On the channel. And today we have for you the Busch Series race number 15 of 35 at the Nazareth Speedway, a track that is no longer in business, but used to be on the NASCAR Busch Series schedule, although not at this time period in the 2007 season, which is where this game takes place. But needless to say, it's a fantasy track on this game. It used to be a real racetrack. It still is around, just abandoned. And now, here today, we're bringing it back to life. And again, it is the Busch Series. Now, this race is pretty long, 300 laps at this racetrack. You'll have to let me know in the chat, but the actual Busch Series races that did take place at Nazareth Speedway, I don't think that they were actually 300 laps, because that seems like an awfully long race for this racetrack. This length of track, the amount of time it takes to make a lap here. So it's going to be about the length of a Cup Series race here on this Wednesday night, which we usually don't do Cup races very often during the week. But this is the race that came up on the schedule. I already had it on the schedule, so I figured why not do this. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Let's get into this one. Without further ado, I did not practice, did not qualify. We are starting at the rear of the field, so hopefully I have the right setup. And if you're wondering why I'm on this screen already, I accidentally hit start race right before I went to start the stream. I was able to pause it before I actually started the race. So here we go. And now my volume's muted. On my TV, at least, not for you guys. All right, there we go. Green flag's in the air, and we are underway. Ethan Chua, Wade, Jackson Robinson, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to take my time trying to tiptoe around this place because I don't know what kind of setup I have, if it's the right one, if it's not the right one. We might get a stack up getting into turn 4 up here. It's kind of a 5-turn racetrack. It's turn 1, then it's turn 2, 3. This is 4. Then there's a little kink on the front stretch right here that almost acts as if it's a turn of itself. 5. A pentagon, if you will.
One car.
I like how I made a little contact with him. My crew chief's just yelling at me, settle down. Can you imagine if Ross Chastain's crew chief was like that? Yelling at him a couple times every race. Settle down. Dad yelling at his kids to shut up. I'm definitely not going 3 wide into any corners if I can help it. Not this early in the race. Jam the brakes keep from making contact with anybody that time, too. I think the setup's fine. If I could just get into some clean air, I can really let it rip. But in traffic, it is going to be testy. And this is a long race, so we really got to take care of the car. Made slight contact once. I'm okay with making a little bump here and there. That's just going to happen because this is pretty much a short track. It's an intermediate, but it races like a short track. We got 3 wide right there. Oh, boy. I tried to get out of it. Good thing I did. Otherwise, I definitely wasn't going to make that corner. I still made contact, even trying to get out of the gas as late as I did. It is 5 turns, says Wiki. Yeah, I mean, it looked like it, so I just assumed it was. I almost turned him. Turn 1 is giving me fits right now. Once I figure turn 1 out, I think I'll be okay. Mystic Shadows, thanks for tuning in. Your old hometown track. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I'm from Ohio, and they got rid of all our tracks. NASCAR-wise. They don't race at Mid-Ohio anymore. Eldora. Mansfield back in the day, but I wasn't... I don't think I mean, they only raced there a few years. I would have been a kid. I didn't even go to my first NASCAR race until I was 16. Yeah, I was 16 when my grandpa took me for my birthday. Yeah, a bunch of weeds now. Oh, Jamie McMurray knocking us down into the grass. Barely underneath him, but we were definitely there. Same 16 car that started on the pole out here leading all the laps. Already lap 8. Just ran our quickest lap. 28.111. I really let it feed close to the wall. There was nobody there, so I was able to actually make that work. It was a great corner. Got to the inside of this 138. Able to back up the corner entry. Really roll the middle, as I did right there again. I was even in a slight bit of traffic. That was a great corner. Look at that drive off. Yeah, I just feel if I can get track position, we'll be fine. We'll get there eventually if I just continue to kind of take my time. I know I'm making passes relatively quick. 10 laps, we're already from the rear to 26th. It'll take a good 50 laps. Once we get up to the faster cars at the front of the field, they tend to not pass them quite as quick. That, I don't know if I'm going to end up burning my tires up by the time I end up getting there. Skip that spot up. Ooh, I barely got back down to the bottom there. Didn't realize I left that much of a door open. We'll contact underneath Jeff Burton. Yeah, I'm not going 3 wide. They've enticed me to do it a couple times already. I keep telling myself to be patient. Our lack of patience is what costed me yesterday. Wrecked a few times. Yes, we came back, still finished second, but I might have had a good shot at the win had we not have to drive from the rear of the field on multiple occasions. Didn't even lead a single lap. In fact, it's actually been 3 races since the last time we've led. Last 2 Busch races at Charlotte and Dover. Finished second in both races, but didn't lead a single lap along the way. It would help if Jeff Burton gave me more room, though. I'm playing real nice with him right now, not making contact and back for a couple laps now. There we go. Eat my door. Preferably right side. Oh! Kind of slid up into him that time. There we go. Gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. By Kevin Harvick through turns 2 and 3. Jeff Burton underneath his teammate Harvick now. That's his lap. 27.085. Lagging or keep buffering? I don't know. I haven't been able to really pay too much attention to the stream. It says excellent connection on my end, so I don't know. The stream's running good for me, at least. Oh, wow, that was quite a bit of contact with Casey Mears. They bet Toby Keats toured us. You mean you did? You did or you didn't attend your first race when you were 14? into country music, but I've heard and at least know of the name Toby Keith. Up to 15th. This track's fun to race, though, I will say. It's just so unique. Oh, that was not the way to try to take turn one. I tried to see if I could bury it off into the corner. Can't do it. Can't do it. I didn't hit the wall as hard as it looked like I was about to hit it. I was able to get on the brakes enough. Dale Jr. Boomer, the saluter, thanks for tuning in. Oh boy, that was packing in way too hot that time. Gotta run on J.J. Haley. He's gonna have to give me a little more room into turn one. All right, there we go. He did by the time we got there. Ruben Top, also welcome to the stream. Favorite racetrack? Bristol. Bristol's been my favorite since I was a kid when I went there for the first time in 2020 for the All-Star race. Been there every year since, other than last season. I didn't get there, but I'll be there for the, summer race this year. I had a hiccup right in the middle of the sentence. Leave at 6:30, come back at 8. Will I be streaming? I'd like to think this race will go to 8 o'clock, but don't hold me to that. Maybe it's going to go by quicker than I anticipated. I was expecting coming into the night before I started the stream that this race was going to take 2.5 to 3 hours and it was going to be the length of a cup race. So I'd imagine so, but like I said, don't hold me to that. I would like to think it's going to go past 8 o'clock. I'd be shocked if I get this done in less than 2 hours. But I guess if it stayed caution-free, but we haven't had a caution-free Busch race at all yet this season either, so definitely lean towards that being a no. The inside of Casey Kane. Contact with Casey. Got our teammates just up ahead of us here, Dale Jr. and Paul Menard. My best corner by far is turns 2 and 3. Just gotta let it float going off into the corner. It's a lot easier when there's nobody to my outside. I feel like of all the corners on the racetrack, that's the one where they've given me the most room, so even if there is somebody there, I can kind of drift up a little bit. Just able to feather the gas so much better through that corner than anywhere else on the racetrack. Such a long, patient corner. Got a little free that time, but then the curb straightened me out. It's like a grip strip. Favorite is Martinsville. Martinsville's definitely up there for me, too. In person, I'll tell you what, those $2 hot dogs, I feel like they're losing money. $2 per dog. Slammed the door shut on Hornish. And I think he just got hit out of the way by the 17 of Danny O'Quinn Jr. behind us.
Still on time. Oh, Buster. That's not time. That's down.
By Marcus Ambrose, and Truex is already up to 5th. Now to the inside of Kevin Conway for 4th at the end of lap 30. They're starting dead last with no practice, no qualifying.
No outside. You're looking real strong out there.
That's on the 16 and now all the way up to 3rd. One of the 16s. Both the 16 cars in the top 5. Greg Biffle and Todd Cleaver. I'd imagine it's the same one that's led every lap at the very front of the field from the pole. Unless one passed the other without anybody else leading, because I haven't noticed anybody else out in front. Todd Cleaver is the one that leads. Matt Kenseth's in 2nd, so Roush was 1, 2, 3 at the front of the field. Now they're 1, 2, and 4. Short track bumping and banging. Got a little bit of that tonight. Caught a little bit of the grass. A little loose there. I want to do that. I have no clue how many pit stops we're going to have in this race. They're only pit for fuel and tires 4 times. I don't think it's going to be that many stops. Very good possibility we can get a run on Kenseth here off turn 3. And we did. Not going to be able to get close enough to try to drive it in deep into turn 4 here. So we're going to back the corner entry up. Try to get a run on him on the front stretch. Got it now. Towards turn 1, battle for 2nd. And Truex is clear. And now going after Cleaver for the lead. Got a run. Off 3. Clear. Slamming the door shut. First chance we got. Oh, got a little arrow loose. He was all over our back bumper. Couldn't hold it. And now Kenseth leads. Truex jamming it into Cleaver.
Outside.
Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. I'll be streaming NASCAR 08 again tomorrow. All right, clear that time without getting arrow loose or oversliding the race car in turn 4 that time. So now we've led our first lap. 5 bonus points for Truex. And we go from last to first in 37 laps. Now that we've got this clean air advantage, look out field. We're not going to finish second 3 races in a row. I'm not going to let that happen. First lap's led in 3 races now. The way this season's gone, you would think that's a slump. Only finished outside the top 10 twice through the first 14 races. And it hasn't been since races 2 and 3. That was when I was still trying to get used to this game. I feel like I'm still overdriving turn 4. That was way wider that time than I wanted to go. Floated the corner, kind of gave up a lot of bottom again that time. Oh, Kenseth moving us. Kenseth back in the lead again. I thought we were just going to set sail there. I left the door open for him to get a run at us. First chance he had, he put the bumper to the back of the 11. Truck's back to the inside, though. Try to move him out of the way. See how he likes it. Oh, I almost wrecked myself doing that. See you. Willie Kramer, welcome to the stream. Kenseth overdrove it. Wonder if he was trying to get back to us again. So we'll be able to go, give or take, about 80 laps on fuel. I thought that was Marcus Ambrose behind us. I was trying to figure out where he came from. Sam Hornish is up there, too. Now that the Roush, especially both the 16 cars of Biffle and Cleaver. Let the car feed out a little too wide in turn one again. Completely messed my angling up in turns 2 and 3 also. Yeah, so it should be a 3-stop race. We're pitting about every 80 laps. Kind of split it up by pitting every 75 laps if we really wanted to. Make it kind of even on the tires. Fuel should definitely go that far. Our car's... Excuse me. Protein bar got stuck in my throat there for a second. What I was going to say was that our car's definitely quick enough, even if we lose the lead because of any sort of slow pit stops throughout the course of the race. We should still be all right. Get back out to the lead, especially with that many laps in the final run, because of being able to split this thing almost evenly. Yeah, we got 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts today. Big gusty out there. Was able to kind of get away without using much brake in turn one. I just kind of rolled out of the gas for just a split second. That was enough to kind of feed it out towards the wall. It's all about how I angle getting into the corner, because that time I felt the need to have to tap the brakes a couple times. Give ourselves maybe a little bit of separation that time. Scrape. On the bag, keep digging. Get fresh tires back on this bad boy in about another 20 laps or so. Get to our first stop of the night. If you're just tuning in for the first time, haven't seen any yellows yet, started last, got to the lead in 37 laps, so we've led a little less than 20 laps from where we're at. Lost the lead for a couple after Matt Kenseth put a little bump and run to us right after we took the lead, and then we've led pretty much every lap since about lap 39 or 40 onward. Craig Franklin, thanks for tuning in. Felt like my tongue was tied. I'm in the process of getting my bracket filled out. I've kind of done it part way the last couple days through every break at work. I'm going to finish it out tonight after the stream. I've already got my workout in, so work on the grind to try to finish out the rest of it. I haven't even gotten all the way through the first round games yet. Waiting a minute to try to finish her out. My big upsets, though, for tomorrow. I've got High Point knocking out Purdue. And then the Texas Tech game, I've got them losing to UNC Wilmington. Those are my big ones. I've done a lot of research. I was looking up like the point spread for a team plus 13.5. The only year where there's been more than one of those upsets in the first round was 2023. So pretty much you're only going to see one major upset to that extent. So that UNC Wilmington is the one game that I'm sticking with for the team that's more than a plus 13.5 to get the win. Texas Tech is banged up too, and they've lost 3 of their last 5, so I felt like that was going to be the one to be the upset. I feel really good about High Point over Purdue too. So those are my big ones for tomorrow. The only other upset for tomorrow I have is Drake winning their game 11-6. And then I haven't gotten all the way through the Friday games yet, but those are the only 3 upsets I have tomorrow. I remember when I was filling it out last year, I took a lot of the notes that I did, so I'm kind of just basing it off of that. I was looking at how many upsets there were each given year, and it kind of ranks between 8 to 12 a lot. But there hasn't been back-to-back seasons ever where there's been more than 10 upsets, and last year there was 11. in the first round, so I went with my number is going to be 8 to 10 this year, so smaller sample size. I'm going 8 to 10 upsets in the first round. It's just a matter of picking the right ones at that point. I've got it down to a T. I did pretty good last year on my bracket. At least through the first 2 rounds on the first weekend, and then once I got to the next weekend, like I think I had 14 of the 16 Sweet 16 teams. Like I was awesome. I think I got through the first 3 days. I only lost like 5 games. It was wild because if you go on to like the March Madness app or like the ESPN app with like the brackets and stuff, I was like towards the top there through the first weekend, and then it all went to shit after that. Once it got to the next weekend, I think I only had 1 team that made the Final Four, but I had 14 of 16 in the Sweet 16. So my research was good enough to get me that far. And then the pandemonium really started to happen that I wasn't expecting. But it worked for the first 2 days as well as it did, so I'm just doing the same stuff I was looking at last year. The only, like, key stats I really look at outside of, like, the numbers of, like, who tends to upset who more often seeding-wise and try to, you know, keep it to a formula of that 8 to 10, like I mentioned, was just, you know, how have they played lately, you know, over the last, like, 6 to 8 games. If a team's really struggling, I try to stay away from picking them, and that's where I tend to take the upsets. And then if both teams have been clicking on all cylinders as of late, then I tried to look at road record, because almost every game is on the road for most of these teams. Very few occasions where you'll actually see a team play pretty close to their campus. Like, I think the Louisville game, they're playing in Lexington this weekend, so I have them going to the Sweet 16. It's almost like a home game for them. Well, I have them winning the first game. I haven't gotten far enough. I can't remember who's in the... I haven't, like, actually looked at the bracket side of it. I've basically just been in my Google Docs page for trying to formulate it. And then when I actually go to fill out the bracket, I'll at least get the first round and then just kind of go from there on the matchup side of it. I can share more in depth tomorrow night. I'll get everything good to go. And then we'll know how the first, like, 8 games or so went before we start the stream tomorrow, so... You'll know if High Point would have already upset Purdue. And if my Louisville prediction was right, because I think those are the first 2 games. What do I have in the final 2? I haven't gotten that far. I've almost got the first round done, and that's about it. See, I feel like the first round is a lot easier for me to predict. And I think that's another reason why I did so good through the first 2 weekends, because I did a lot of... I mean, I probably did like 2 hours, an hour and a half to 2 hours of research Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, leading up to the bracket. So when everything was going right, I'm like, oh man, I'm a wizard. I think I cracked the code. And then I get to the following weekend, and even though I had 14 of the 16 teams who I thought was hot going into the weekend, they had, like, everybody's basically on a week rest at that point, so everything that happened the week before momentum-wise kind of gets wore out at that point. It's almost the one giant tournament. Each weekend itself is a tournament of its own. I feel like that's why you see so many Cinderella stories get through the entire weekend, especially in the first weekend when, you know, maybe some people weren't expecting them, and then they go into the Sweet 16 game when they play against a better team that's able to prepare against them for a whole week. And then you really see who the better team is at that point. There's a lot more upsets in the first 2 rounds because you don't know who you're playing until, you know, in certain cases, just a couple days before. Especially with the way the first 4 is that they're playing in Dayton again tonight. They had the 2 games yesterday, the 2 games on Tuesday. Every year but one since they started doing the first 4 in 2011, at least one of those teams has gotten into the second round. They've won their first round game. And I think a lot of that has to do with the team that's playing against them literally only gets 2 days to prep. They don't know who they're playing until 2 days before. And they've had a longer rest period, so they've been off their feet for a while. And especially depends on when their last game was. I mean, if they played in a conference championship game, then they only have the 4 days rest. But if they were eliminated early and they have like a whole week, 8 days off, that's a long time off for somebody that just played 2 days ago, but didn't play just the day before, so they're somewhat rested. Especially like North Carolina. I didn't watch any of the games last night, but I saw they won by almost 30, so I'm like, yeah, that's my first 4 team making it out. Maybe I'll put a picture up of my community tab post. I don't know. My winning bracket. I feel good about it. That's my my in-depth basketball analysis from somebody that played at the high school level growing up. Not that that's anywhere near Division I college basketball, but I know ball when I see it. Somebody blowing an engine up here. Yep. Somebody else blew an engine earlier, too. We've lapped a few cars. The lead's a little less than a second and a half. We're getting pretty light on fuel. We have made it 77 laps at the line this time. I'm going to pit this time. And we're already in our window. We could probably stretch it to lap 80, but we've already gone to our 75 lap window. So we'll have our first of 3 pit stops. And then work our way in here. I believe there's an access road that we probably have to take. Yep. And we've got leaders pitting too, so it's good to hear. Man, they closed that gap a ton on me. Maybe I babied it, but honestly, my car felt tight. Like I had to baby it just to get into pit road without missing the access road. It floated up the track quite a bit, and I just see them closing a ton behind us. Well, definitely gave some time up there, but we were still on this pit stop. Yeah, we lost some time in the pits as well as coming in. I mean, obviously we were before all these guys that just cycle out ahead of us. Sam Hornish Jr., Paul Menard. Hornish was in second. Got the quickest car. Plenty of time to run everybody back down again. 57 pulling up, blocking Menard. That is a lap car. Trucks to the inside of his teammate Menard, trying to pick him behind the lapper. Backed out of the gas. Really backed that corner up a ton. Trying to do the same thing with the wide entry into turns 2 and 3. Got by the lap car at least, but couldn't get to the inside of Menard as he was clogging the bottom. Paul Menard coming off a win at Dover in the last race yesterday afternoon. Nice to have the fresh tire grip again. Last time we had a bunch of traffic around us, so we didn't really get to see what we had with it. Down to the inside, Hornish for the lead. Got him in turn 4. Truex back out in front again. Lap 82 at the line. Third different time that Mark Truex Jr. has led today. Do I like other motorsports? F1 rally? I never really got into rally. I don't think I've ever really watched it outside of maybe some like random X Games stuff back in the day. But even then, there were other sports I feel like in the X Games that I like watching over a lot of the motorsports that they had. I mean, I've watched a few F1 races. If I were to watch open wheel racing more, I'd kind of lean towards the IndyCar route when it comes to like road courses and similarly styled, I guess, racing. I do like the mix of ovals and road courses that IndyCar has on their schedule, although they don't have as many ovals as they used to, but it's kind of slowly getting back to that more even balance, at least in recent years. I think it was the COVID season in 2020. They only had like 3 ovals the whole year. They had to cut. I think they only had 3 of them the whole year, and 2 of them were at Texas. So they had a doubleheader. And they had the Indy 500. Those were the only ovals. I think the stream has been lagging a little bit. Somebody else mentioned earlier in the stream. I might have to pause it and reset OBS for you guys. Let me know in the chat if you're experiencing any lagging issues throughout the last while, I guess. It was saying excellent connection for me for a long time when somebody mentioned it earlier, but now it's not saying that anymore. Kind of noticed in my box that it's looking like it's maybe lagging a little bit. Not lagging for you? Oh, caution's out for the first time today. 15 races in, still no race has gone caution-free. Now, this is one of the longest races of the season, so it's maybe not surprising that this one got a yellow. Wait to see what happened. The heck? Is it a phantom debris yellow or something? Well, apparently, we got a caution for Mike Wallace driving. It's definitely lagging. Will not pit. We got quite a few lap cars. Not a whole lot, but there is a handful. So they'll be on the inside of the lead lap cars. All right, let me try to fix the lagginess. All right. I got gigantic. I'm massive. All right. Apologize for that. It's probably going on for a long while. Had a pause in the action anyway, so might as well have tried to fix it during the yellow. If it's still happening, I don't think there's anything I can do for the rest of the night. I'd probably have to reset my internet. I know it's very windy at my house, so that might have something to do with it too. We got 40+ mile an hour wind gusts out there right now, so I'd imagine that might have something to do with it. I had a great restart, though. I was able to get out in front of the lap car on the inside before we got into turn 1. basically got into my corner as if nobody was there. Sam Hornish took a little bit longer to clear for second, but he did end up doing so. Got a little over a half a second lead. A lot of clean air, though. No lap traffic this time. It's going to be a long time before we catch another set of lap cars anyway. I still don't know why we had the caution. I would imagine it was debris and it just didn't pick up on the replay cameras. Mike Wallace, cause of the yellow, I guess. Well outside our fuel window, we just hit pit road not that long ago, less than 20 laps from where we're at now, so definitely wasn't going to pit. Can we go to the back, to the front again? Yes. Do I want to? No. Why risk it? Getting caught up in a foolish accident. Nothing of my own doing. It's because it's this game and I happen to be running mid-pack again. I was patient the first time. I would tell myself to be patient the second time because we still have a long ways to go in this race. I mean, we're still 2 pit stops out from the end. Where we're at right now, we almost have a full fuel run to get to the next pit stop, so long ways to go in this race. A win tonight would be the 10th win for Martin Truex Jr. this season. It would be the 12th for DEI if one of the 3 would win. Paul Menard with 2 wins on the season. Truex with 9 coming into the race. Dale Jr. still looking for his first, despite being second in points behind Truex. Just hasn't won yet this year. He hasn't had a whole lot of opportunities where I've noticed him competing for the win. Even if he has a good second, third place run, it seems like those are the races I dominate. He was as high as around 5th very early in the race when I was first getting through traffic. Though I haven't really noticed him up in the top 5 since. Denny Hamlin's up to 4th. That might have been after the cycling of green flag stops earlier. Now he's going for 3rd. Underneath Hornish. Menard's still in 2nd. Hamlin's got the spot. 16 to Biffle falls into 4th. Number Hornish is getting freight train now. Looks like he got back down to the bottom briefly into turn 4. By the way, there's a lot of empty seats on this game at Nazareth. I haven't pointed that out yet, but I noticed it a while back. Why is there like nobody in the grandstands? Look at this. Empty. And then you get to the front stretch where the start-finish line is, and there's some people there, but it looks like it's nowhere near 100% full, even in that middle section. Then there's nothing towards turn 1. There's like nobody here. Got a full 300-lap race in front of a COVID crowd. But they're not social distance across the grandstands either, though. They're all still jam-packed in one area. It's almost like the Truck Series at certain tracks where they close off sections of the grandstand. They always do that every year I go to Bristol. I think it's dumb. They're forcing you to sit on either the front straightaway or the back straightaway. You can't sit in the corners. The corners are the cheapest tickets. So then you're forced to get a front stretch or a back stretch seat, which are more expensive. So they kind of handicap you. It's probably because they do it for the eye test. It would probably look weird if there were more people sitting in the turns than the straightaways, because that's probably what would happen with the amount of people that go to the truck races on the Thursday nights. But I still feel like they would probably sell more tickets overall if they didn't handicap it. I guess by handicapping it, they end up making up the money that they would have lost anyway, and then it probably looks better on TV. I don't know. I can see why they do it. I just don't like that they do it as a paying customer. It's general admission, but I don't remember Bristol being that way. You buy tickets to a truck race and they know it's not going to be anywhere near full capacity, so it's just general admission. You just buy a ticket, sit wherever you want. I think Daytona was like that now that I think about it. At least back in 2022 when I was there. Maybe it was the dual race. It might have been the dual races. If it wasn't the truck race, it was the dual races that it was general admission. Nazareth closed in 2004. That's why EA didn't put a lot of fans at the track. Well, I mean, that'd be kind of a weird reason for them not to put a lot of fans at the track. I mean, I feel like it's a video game. Well, I don't feel like it is a video game. It's kind of a weird circumstance. The camping looks like it's full. They sold out of the camping here at Nazareth. They just don't have a lot of butts in the grandstand seats. Maybe it's a hot race. Maybe it's like 100 degrees outside. Nobody wanted to go. Burn themselves to death in the sun. A lot of camping on the outside of the track, too. I was looking outside. Yeah, I mean, it's all the way around. Look at that. Back straightaway. Because I missed my marks. Gave up a lot of bottom. More camping off of turn 1 over here. Well, they did a great job selling the camping spots. It'd be so weird. I mean, there probably are tracks that sell out of camping, but can't sell out the grandstands. I guess it's probably easier just considering the fact that you get a lot of turnover with that, I feel. That and it's just less people to occupy that space compared to the grandstands. Vehicles are going to take up more space in the infield of a racetrack than grandstands on the outside of a track that probably seats more. It's kind of getting out of rhythm talking about the camping and stuff. Denny Hamlin's closing the gap, but I think I can pull him again once I focus. Stop looking at the campers. The campers and the empty grandstands. I told myself I wasn't going to finish second again and we were going to win this race. I've already led laps, so that's a step in the right direction. Can't get too lackadaisical either. Got a long ways to go in this thing. We're almost an hour into the race and barely over 100 laps out of 300. So this is definitely going to run past 8 o'clock. Which I kind of figured. I figured it was going to be in that 2.5 to 3 hour window. This is a very long race. I mentioned at the very start of the stream and the start of the race, there is no way that they race 300 laps here in the Busch Series. I mean, this is basically the length of a New Hampshire race for Cup. I mean, I get it's a standalone event, I guess, but even still. It's kind of reminded me a little bit of how the truck race has been at North Wilkesboro the last couple of years, where it's longer than the actual All-Star race the Cup Series runs the next night. go Saturday and you get more racing overall than what you see on Sunday. So you get the heat races, you get practice and qualifying, you get a full 250-lap truck race. You go the next day, you get a 200-lap cup race, and you get like 50 laps of an LCQ, and that's about it. Now maybe it's 75. One or the other, even still. Between the two of them, they combine to barely be more than the truck race alone. Not to mention, they've had Cup guys in the North Wilkesboro truck race the last several years. I remember Larson won there a couple years ago. First race there. First race back. Another car just blew an engine and hit pit road that last time by. Had several engine failures already in the first half of the race. That was 100. That was more than I thought it was. Are you sure it's 100 laps? I don't remember it being that long. I don't even remember it being that long at Bristol, and that's a shorter track. Well, that was kind of weird at that time, though, because they had stages in the All-Star Open where you won a stage, you advanced. Well, maybe it's 100 this year and it wasn't 100 the last couple of years. Maybe they extended it. Because I do not remember the All-Star Open being 100 laps the last couple of years. So I remember when they had it at Texas, it was only like 40 laps. 40 or 50. A mile and a half. When is that 600 NASCAR 08? I've been putting it off for a while. I would have liked to have had it on Monday this last week, but I had family obligations on Monday night that I didn't think I was going to have a week in advance, so I have to put it off until next week again. Hopefully Monday. This coming Monday. Assuming there's no weather issues at Homestead for the NASCAR race this weekend. Open 100 laps since 23. Okay, so 22 it wasn't 100, but last year it was. Oh, no, my bad. 20. Oh, I see what you mean. I seriously don't remember that being 100 laps the last 2 years at North Wilkesboro. I mean, I guess 100 laps there isn't very long, but I didn't think it was half of the actual All-Star race. I mean, I guess it makes sense, though, because the All-Star race used to be 90 to 100 laps, so if it was like 40 for the Open, 50, I guess it was about half the length. Yep, Larson running all 3 races this week. Although that 17 car in the Xfinity Series hasn't been super dominant with a Cup driver behind the wheel the last couple weeks. It still leaned towards him being the favorite, but they haven't gotten the job done the first 2 races. Even though Bowman was very close at Phoenix, he didn't really lead that many laps. And just Allgaier dominated that race. It was Allgaier and Almirola that were leading the way the entire time. Bowman was kind of that third-place car the entire race behind him. 100% chance of racing. They should start putting that in the weather forecast. 100% chance of racing. Well, that's good. I know Florida weather can be unpredictable, so still not going to count my chickens before they hatch. It's a sign of good fortune. Right around 20 laps away, give or take, from the second pit stop of the race. Still a lot of clean air in front of us. We did have a caution after the first set of green flag stops during the middle of this current fuel and tire stint. Everything had cycled through before the caution came out. Crew chief talking about the 109 car coming back out on the racetrack. See if he's going to actually be out here. Pushed way wide getting into turn 4 that time. Car's starting to get really tight. That's why it's really starting to float up the track a lot more. She's shoving. All 4 tires in the yellow on our tire wear indicator. Got about a 1.2 second lead. It's kind of fluctuated down to about 0.7 of a second. Probably going to give up time when I come into the pits again using that excess road, but I got to use it. They'll close the gap on me. If we end up losing the lead for a few laps again, so be it. We lost the lead for about 4 or 5 laps. After the first set of green flag stops, got it back, and then the caution came out not long after. Bunched the entire field back together again. Guess with the caution laps ran, we can go a little bit past lap 50, 150. Can you bet money on drivers? Yeah, there's sport books that have NASCAR stuff. All this race around this flat oval, giving us a whole heck of a lot of experience for a very short track race tomorrow night. Toyota Raceway on this game. Scrape against the wall out of turn 1. I didn't realize the left front wasn't in the yellow yet. I thought all 4 tires were there. I guess not. I think I'm going to pit at lap 155 will be my target lap this time. Ty, thanks for tuning in. Watch at work, about to clock out. Appreciate it. Just don't get in trouble for watching me. I don't want to be the reason for that. Oh boy, big power slide. Yeah, I'll tell you what, this car snugged up way more than it did the very first run of the race. I don't know exactly why. I mean, maybe I'm just pushing harder because I've had a lot more clean air to work with versus having to drive through the field. I was more patient. Therefore, I was saving my tires even though I was making passes. It sounds weird, but that's the only logical explanation for why this car has gotten so tight, because we don't have a lot of damage. I've scraped the wall a few times, but nothing major. I haven't hit it hard by any means. Haven't wrecked. Been a relatively clean race for 148 laps, for us at least. We did have that one Mike Wallace caution, but he was well behind us inside the top 10 where that took place. Sam Hornish and Denny Hamlin, they restarted inside the top 5, and they're now back outside the top 10. Hornish is actually in 14th, Hamlin 16th. Mike Walsh, I was just talking about in the top 10 when he had that incident. He's now 20th. I didn't realize our fastest lap also got quicker this run as well at some point, probably early in it when we had the fresher tires. 26.5. Is that 5.55? 5.65. I see it now. When it was in the clouds, it was kind of hard to tell with the white. It was blending in. Halfway this time by. Well, the plan is to go to lap 155. If the fuel tank isn't blinking by then, I'll go another lap or two until it starts. So we'll be able to go a few laps once it starts flashing on us on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Haven't gotten there yet. See, Hamlin won all that money in Vegas. I did see that. They were talking about it during the race coverage. Won over 100 grand on the slot machines. It was at 2 a.m. on race night. I didn't realize it was that late. I'm sure he wasn't the only driver. I didn't realize what time it was. I mean, obviously, would have had to have been a time where they were away from the team and stuff. I didn't think it was at 2 a.m. at night. To be fair, he had a crappy performance during the race this weekend, so maybe it wasn't the best look. Oh my gosh! That was a hard hit. I don't even know how that... How did that start? Oh my goodness. That angle was rough. Lap 156 now. I'd have to go back and look to see how that started. I don't know if I blew the corner and just didn't have him clear yet or what happened there. I'm going to go one more lap and then we'll pit. I see that the fuel light's flashing. We'll come in this time. Got some cars pitting right now. We got a little bit of damage to repair. Don't speed. All right. I'm still not going to make any adjustments despite how tight the car was getting. I seriously got to go back and look to see how that happened. There. Don't speed. A relatively clean race. At least it wasn't a caution. It was at 2 a.m. on race day. I didn't realize it was that late. I'm sure he wasn't the only driver. It looked like a clean stop. I don't know. I didn't really look at it much. I didn't realize what time it was. I mean, obviously, I got to figure out what I did there. It had to have been a time where they were away from the team. I just want to make sure if it was my fault or not. So I'm aware of that in the next two runs. From the team and stuff. I didn't think it was at 2 a.m. at night. To be fair, he had a crappy performance during the race this weekend, so I had him clear. I had him clear out of turn 5. Maybe it wasn't the best look. And then turn 1. How did he close so quickly? I mean, we had him cleared the corner before. During the race. I was on the white line. Honestly, I think he just stuck his nose in there. I don't really see anything that I did wrong. He definitely came up very quickly on the right rear after I cleared him. Contact with David Stremme coming out of the pits. Definitely going to lose the lead again. Further back than third place this time, too. Looks like we're going to be in at least 5th. 4th, actually. One of these cars up ahead of us is a lap down. A little bad for Busch this weekend. Yeah, right rear tire coming off. He had a good start to the race, too. Qualified well. Just kind of minding his own business. And then that happens. More bad luck Busch's way. Hornish gets by Danny O'Quinn Jr. We're going to do the same here. And a lot more lap cars are upcoming very shortly. Fresh tires, fresh grip. Smooth pass on Sam Hornish Jr. All clear, clean. Off turn 3. Quite a big herd of lap cars. The leaders are closing in on following the second pit stops of the race. We still have 2 sets of tires left the rest of the way. It's the second time that Paul Menard has led tonight. Kind of in this bubble where I get to within a couple car lengths, can't get any closer. He's starting to get into dirty air, though, himself. Closer he gets to the back of the lap traffic. Looking to get by the 110. Neither of us were able to force it real wide up off the exit of turn 3. Neither could Hornish off of turn 5. Truck's trying to back the corner up, get a run. Oh, I got back in the gas too soon. I was going to say, I had a pretty massive run. That would be why. A couple cars side by side. Well, we're within striking distance. Best corner all race for the most part. It's been turns 2 and 3 right here. Just can't quite get to the inside. It's close. Out of turn 4. 3 wide to the bottom. I'm giving up. Yeah, we were 3 wide still getting into turn 1. Try 3 wide this corner. There we go. Got him right in the middle of turns 2 and 3. Bernard trying to drive it in deep. Nowhere for him to go. Truex wins the race back to the gas and will leave this time at the line. Lap 171. Little free. Oh, overdrove it. I thought we were going to get a caution for that. That was a close call. Catching it on the access road. I'm still in the grass. Trying to get back out onto the track. Thank you very much. We're good. We're good. Just going to act like nothing happened there. I was so far sideways, I thought the caution was going to come out for sure. I didn't see the light, though. We're still green. Nowadays, NASCAR definitely would have thrown a yellow for that. Get by this one lone lapper. Clear off turn 3. By quite a bit. And set sail now. Got a couple more lap cars a little further up ahead, but it's going to be a minute before we catch them. After that, there's an even bigger gap until the next car, so smaller gap before anybody else. Quite a few cars off the lead lap. This is definitely our longest green flag run of the race. Went almost 90 laps. Well, I guess maybe not. Considering we went about 90 laps to start this thing before the first caution. Restarted at lap 93. Now we're at where we're at.
Hornish is back up to second. I'm surprised he got through the field as quickly as he did. I swear he was in 14th at one point. Must have had a very quick pit stop or something. I mean, I noticed he was ahead of us, obviously. He was one of the cars we had to pass when we cycled out 4th from leaving the pits. But he was in 14th at one point during that last tire stint. Second and a half lead. It's honestly one of our largest leads of the day. So we try to pull away more and more here. 120 laps to go, though. A lot of time left in this race. Take us one caution to bunch things back up again. We nailed the first restart, so that's good. Hopefully we can do the same if we get another one. Oh, man, that was almost one. What was that for? Buffoon? I did door slam him on purpose that corner. What was that all about? Oh, my gosh. Well, I did have about a 1.7 second lead. I didn't deserve that, did I? Imagine a lap car just sending the leader for no reason. He sailed it into that corner. I could tell he was on the gas the whole time. He hit me so hard I was looking out of the rearview mirror. It still looked like he had a wheel stand going on. I don't think he ever lifted. Used me as his brakes. That was the hardest I've hit the wall today. Jeez Louise. And just crunch the fenders in on a car that's been, for the most part, perfectly clean. Just talking about earlier, it's about our longest green flag run of the race. He was trying to end that real quick. It's such a clean day, too. That would suck to have to go to the back because he tears my car up. Back to a lot of clean air again. I don't think the car is killed by any means. It's still handling somewhat okay. Maybe it's a little bit more snug, but it's not bad. I mean, it was getting tighter over the course of the last run anyway. So I was expecting that to happen again. Mark DeMars, welcome to the stream. One second advantage again. Slowly building that lead back up. Just missed it. The lap car, the 117, just ran through us into turn 4. And our lead is down under a second again. Still got one more pit stop left in the race. 2 sets of tires left. Pitted twice to this point. Dominated in the laps led side of things despite starting at the rear. No practice, no qualifying. We've only had one caution for Mike Wallace back at lap 93. Our final stop is going to be estimated between lap 225, 230. Probably go a little bit past 230. Last pit at lap 157. Oof. Whoops. Oh, I'm sure it was definitely a glitch. I've had that happen before. I don't think it's ever been as bad as what it was at Martinsville. And then Boulder Raceway Park, when we were there in the Busch Series race, it was so bad. And it was pretty bad in the truck race, too. I just didn't get the worst end of it in that event. But we had 10 cautions in that 100-lap road course race. In Truck Series, I mean, we were averaging a yellow about every 8 green flag laps or so, because they would all kind of run each other off the track after so long. I would imagine there was speed glitches going on in the middle of the pack. Luckily, we just didn't have to worry about it ourselves because we were out in front most of the time, but somebody made contact that last lap and nearly wrecked again. Warner's still hanging on to second. He probably ran some IndyCar races here back in the day. No wonder he's in second. Probably knows his track better than anybody else on the field. Busch Series, at least. I guess A.J. Allmendinger might know this track pretty well, too, but he ain't in this series. Maybe Scott Speed. Already clinched the most laps led in this race, where we haven't even gotten to the final 100 laps yet. We're getting close. Started this thing at about 6 p.m. Eastern, so it's definitely a long Busch race. Definitely one of the longer ones, if not the longest Busch race of the season. I was not expecting this until last night when I saw that it was 300 laps, and I'm like, man, that's going to be like a cup race, and go figure, here we are. For those of you that don't know and might be newer to the channel, or wondering, you know, why I do a lot of truck and Busch races as of late, I try to work it out that on my scheduled days off, I do the cup races for my full-time job and then run the Busch and truck races when I can during the week, just because I'm not at home as much. So I try to give myself that extra hour or so, do what I need to do. If I have laundry that's got to get done, make sure I get my workout in and stuff. Luckily, I did get my workout in before the stream started, but and knowing that this thing is going to get done after 8 o'clock and I got to wake up for work again tomorrow morning at 4:45, so I try to time it out to 6 o'clock Eastern start, run the Busch and truck races because they're shorter. They get done between 7:30 depending on the race length. Quick little streams during the week, and then save my cup races for Mondays and Fridays usually. Not going to have a lot of Friday NASCAR 08 streams going forward for the next few weeks, just because combination not only working overtime, but truck races have been Friday night last week, and I think the next 2 nights are still, or next 2 weeks are running Fridays. Next 2 nights they are, and then they have an off week or two, and I'm pretty sure they run the next 2 or 3 Fridays after that also. So a lot of truck races on Friday afternoon, evening time. One of them starts at 5 o'clock, and I think that, trying to think back to what race it is. I don't know if it's a Kansas race, Martinsville maybe. One of them starts at 5, which is like an interesting time slot. I was thinking it's Dover because I don't think it's a track with lights. 100 to go. It's 17 likes on the stream. Appreciate that, everybody. Try to get that up to 20 at least before the finish. Just because, whatever. I don't really have like goals for these video game streams. I don't know. I can't figure out the analytics. I run the same time every single week. I don't know if it's because I took Monday off this week following the live commentary streams. I don't think I've done that since the season started. Well, I did for Daytona, but that's only because that stream ended up going like 9.5 hours, so I took the next day off. And after the fact, we've streamed every Monday. Most viewed week on the live commentary side of things since Daytona, and then random reason the viewership was down for the gaming side yesterday compared to what it usually is. I don't know. I don't understand when YouTube pushes the content versus when they don't anymore. I feel like you got it down to a science, and then something like that happens. It's like, well, maybe I don't know what I'm doing. I appreciate everybody tuning in here tonight. Relaxing. Another off night for racing, so we're here virtually. Hornets drop back to third. Danny O'Quinn Jr. is up to second. Still 25 to 30 laps, give or take away. Might have to give a couple more than that, if anything, but it's kind of our fuel window. If we end up getting a caution around lap 220, I think we have to come in. Just throwing it out there just in case. We haven't really had many fuel mileage races on this game. I don't know what co-op is. Short for cooperation. That'd be... Nah, never mind. Just thinking of something else. Grocery store? I've never heard of that. That must be a local deal. I've never heard of that place. I've traveled around a lot. I've seen a lot of, you know, like southern chains, especially like Food City's big down south. I've always known of it. Sponsoring the Bristol race. I didn't realize it was a grocery store until the first time I went to Bristol. I was like, oh, that's what Food City is. I'd always wondered what it was. All those years watching NASCAR. Always sponsoring the spring event, and then they usually sponsor the summer Busch or Xfinity race. I've seen them at other tracks too. I just, not at other tracks, other cities specifically, but I more vividly remember the one in Bristol because it looks pretty big off the highway heading towards the track. That's probably their version of Walmart in that area. Oh, man. Missed that corner. Hit the wall a couple turns before that. So easy to get out of a rhythm here with the separate corners around this track. It's like 4 separate turns, but it's labeled as 5 turns. You're on the gas all the way through turn 5. 2 and 3 is just so long sweeping. I feel like I've pretty much mastered that corner for the most part. I've made a slight mistake here and there. I could be perfect for all 212 laps, but relatively good. And for the most part, we've been pretty good almost everywhere. Definitely tell the car's starting to get tight again. That slight bit of damage on the right side of the car from the 117 sending us into turn 4 earlier in this current fuel run. Finally catching up with us as the tires are wearing out. Start backing up the entry more. Still got around a 1 second lead. It was about 1.8 at one point in the run before we got sent. And it was down to around 0.7 of a second. We got it back up to 1.2 to 1.3, and now it's starting to go back in the wrong direction again. Closer we get to this final stop. But again, the big key is we've got the strategy planned out, obviously. And we've got the track position, and we're fast enough, especially in the first half of the run. We'll get back to the lead, no problem. Try to build it back up again, even if I lose the lead out of the pits, because we have lost the lead in the first 2 green flag stops. Haven't pitted under caution. Lone yellow of the race, everybody stayed out. Lap 93, it wasn't too long after the first stop, less than 20 laps. Knowing it was a pretty straightforward race on strategy. Kind of figured everybody else was going to stay out, hence the reason we did as well from the lead. Last couple laps, lead's been down to a half a second now. A couple hundredths quicker that last lap, but that was about it. Not worried about it right now because there's still a lot of time left, knowing that we have one more pit stop. But I don't want them to get close enough that they can send me into turn 4 on the final lap of the race. I'd like to at least be a few tenths ahead. Because if a lap car did it, second place might be willing to do it, knowing it could be for the win late. I don't know why. No. He kind of did a half block. The bottom was open, but my car drifted up the track quite a bit. I'm having to be more patient. Holding the bottom up. Having to get by on the outside. Not a lot of grip up on the high side off of turns 2 and 3. I'm still not going to be able to clear him into 4 either. The over-under got him that time off turn 4. It definitely took an extra, almost an entire lap. Trying to make that pass. I believe that's Kevin Conway in second place, closing in. Looks like the 18 car. Could be the 17 of Danny Oakwind Jr. No, it is the 18. I did see the Joe Gibbs number font on the door out of the rearview mirror that time out of turn 4. Car's definitely getting a little tight on the back half of the run. Man, we're going to lose the lead here. I mean, the lap traffic held me up a little bit. The diamond cut out of turn 4. Trying to grip it up down on the bottom of the track to get him back. Able to do so successfully. Held a fairly steady wheel through turn 1. Got him back in turns 2 and 3. Would have been 5 bonus points for Kevin Conway for leading his first lap of the race that last time by. That's a little scary, though, that I got passed late in the run like that, because that's the first time that's happened the whole day. The only time we've lost the lead is during green flag pit cycling, and then we'd get it back. I don't like that I lost it outright the way I did. I might have to make an adjustment, honestly. I really don't want to mess with the wedge. I think I might just blimp the air pressure up just a little bit. Nothing major. Just to be safe, just go 1 pound all the way around. That really helped at Dover yesterday. I was able to drive up to second. Really sideways again. Right in the middle of turn 3. Conway closes the gap in what was our best corner on the racetrack. See the car getting a little light down in turn 4 also. Holding on for another lap. That doesn't help. It's definitely shoving. Turn 1 and turn 4 is where it's at its worst. Tighter corners. That was wide sweep in his turns 2 and 3. Got a little loose getting into turn 2. Kept it on the bottom at least and kept Conway from getting back underneath us again. Little cat and mouse game. Orange cream Coke. My grandpa's always been a fan of those orange drinks. At least he used to drink them a lot. Not as much anymore, I don't think, with his health, but I didn't really care for them growing up. I haven't drank pop or soda in a while. Long time. I don't think I have since I first started working at McDonald's back in high school. Because I cut that stuff out of my diet before I was like really strict with sweets and started working out and stuff. Because I was just drinking it every day, so I just decided not to do it. Stick to only water, and then I ended up cutting sweets out like another year or 2 later. But I never really cared for that, though. Oof. Another tap against the wall off turn 4. Oh my gosh. This thing is just shoving like crazy. We're going to go one more lap. Pit at lap 235. Got several cars down there right now. Right front's in the red. I mean, no wonder. I mean, the car is definitely tight. Has been for a little while now, at least 20 laps. It just progressively gets worse and worse. Doesn't help. I keep mowing the wall down from time to time. Because now it's even getting tight. There in turns 2 and 3, almost gave up the lead. And we're definitely going to be pitting this time. Using the access road. Got to make sure we don't speed. And we sailed it off in there. 1 pound of air pressure all the way around. Really the only adjustment of the race is for this final stop. Two hours into the race. Final stop. Clean one. Sitting there repairing a little bit of damage. 19.8 seconds. Definitely hit the wall more on that run than the other runs before that. It's going to get tight out of the pits. Oh my gosh. Probably could have lifted to avoid that. Yeah, probably could have gotten away with lifting. Oh, somebody's out in the grass. Oh my gosh. That guy just decided to enter the racetrack now. He didn't want to take the access road. Oh, we got trouble. Just got by it, and they're wrecking behind us. Oh my goodness. I had to gas it up and get through there before they wrecked. That guy was hung up for days. Oh, big hit there for the 41 of Reed Sorensen. Caution flags out for the second time in the race. We were close to being involved in that. We just got around it, then 2 cars behind us ended up piling in. The 117 was involved, so, you know, that's karma for him almost wrecking us earlier. We're probably going to get some debris cautions off of this. And we are back in traffic quite a ways. That caution did not work out well for us. There were quite a few cars that were still on pit road, so we lost time. Going to restart in 9th. Green flag back in the air. Still 60 laps to go, but I think we're going to get some debris cautions as well. Long time left. Sam Hornish Jr. is in the lead again. And we do have fresh tires back on the car. We made the air pressure adjustment. Now it's time to see what we can do. Got to be patient getting through traffic. Hamlin blocking. No need to take it 3 wide into a corner. I might try it in turns 2 and 3 if given the room, but that would be it. Debris on the outside of the racetrack. 3rd yellow of the race. First for debris, and it's off the 117. We got, what, 2 spots? Went from 9th to 3, actually. Went from 9th to 6th. Green flag back in the air again, and I'm sure that that wasn't the last debris caution either. Got by a lap car just for another one to get by us. Stuck on the outside. Up the middle. It's fine if I could get to the bottom and get clear into 4, which I did. Casey Mears is leading for the first time in the race. Hamlin swinging wide. Big run for Truex, 3 wide. Still going to be tight in 3 into turn 4. I don't like that on this area of the track, but we did hang on. No contact. This 117 still dragging parts. He was bottoming out right in the middle of turn 4. Up to second, though. Get by him before he sheds more debris. Looked like I was bottoming out a little bit, too. I noticed that the 24 of Casey Mears in front of us also was. And we don't really have any damage. 52 laps to go. Big corner through turn 1 there for Truex. Great corner through turns 2 and 3, trying to close the gap on Casey Mears in the 24 car. Digging. We overdrove it just a bit into turn 4. All over the back of the 24 of Mears. Big power run off the exit of turn 3, side by side. Drag race for turn 4. Gonna get him on exit, all clear. 50 laps to go. And for the 5th time now, Martin Truex Jr. is back in the lead. Mears goes wide in turn 1, and Denny Hamlin's up to second. Pizza stuck to the box. There goes another $15. Oh, no. Oh, no. Was it fresh or was it one of those, like, oven... like a Red Baron pizza or something like that? Frozen pizzas. Just really got to hope I don't get super tight like I did during the last run. Couple of cautions we've had. That's less green flag laps, so that'll help us. I would imagine the air pressure adjustment will help us at least a little bit. Hopefully that makes the tires last a lot longer also. Because, I mean, we were in that threat of losing the lead. I did for a lap. Luckily, I was able to cross him back over. Otherwise, I don't know if I would have gotten back around him. It was already tight and clean air. I got in dirty air. That could have been a lot worse. It's fresh. Should have thrown it away. It's still edible. That would have been a little overboard. I feel like if you just would have paid for it and threw it away. It definitely doesn't sound etiquette, I guess. The quality was not there. Still 43 laps to go in the race. A lot of time left. I don't think we've seen the last debris caution with the amount of cars that were caught up in that accident. I'm surprised we only got one within the first 15 laps after the yellow had came out. Not a big lead by any means. We haven't really led by more than 2 seconds in this race. I kind of get to the lead and sit on it. But they're not breathing down my neck to kind of be in that risk of getting bumped out of the way for the lead like Kenseth got around us earlier. A couple of lap cars have gotten into us as well. Oh, there we go. That might have been another debris caution right there. Fourth caution of the race with a little less than 40 laps left. And this time it's going to be the 41 of Reed Sorensen, who was involved in that second crash of the day. Yep, his hood came off. I think the 117 is still going to get another debris caution because his hood looked pretty crunched earlier too. Might even be a couple other cars in there with quite a bit of damage also. Sorensen was at the back of the pack. It's going to be our second restart of the day while leading and having lap cars on the inside. 35 laps to go. Couldn't clear into turn one like I did the first time. And couldn't get down to the bottom at the 117 there. Steady late dive for him. Yeah, we're not going to be able to get down to the bottom yet. Luckily, it's only lap cars that have gotten by us so far. I do not want to be here. Oh, thought Denny was going to run into me. This is... got too many slow cars in front of me. Oh, that contact got me. Now we're on the outside 3 wide. I don't think that's a good spot either. Oh, this is the dangerous part about... I do not like this at all. There we go. Found a hole. Got back to the bottom. I think this is the first time Denny Hamlin's led in the race. Danny O'Quinn Jr. up to second. He makes the late dive into turn 4, and Danny O'Quinn Jr. is looking for the lead. Big run up the middle for Truex. Little contact with Denny. '17's blocking. Truex going for the lead again. Got it. 31 laps to go. Definitely the craziest restart we've had so far today. Hamlin got to get back into second as Danny O'Quinn Jr. Right up against the wall there. Driving it in a little too deep. 2 corners in a row. Just going to protect the bottom. Try to. Good drive off. Still able to stay in front of Hamlin. It's because I was able to back it up so much getting in. Hamlin looking wide. I think that's David Reagan in the discount tire car, just a couple spots back on the inside. Haven't seen him up in contention for the lead all day, and here he is late with 30 laps to go. We've got the speed to get back away from these guys. I just got to start hitting my marks again. David Reagan up to second. 4 cautions in the race, 3 of them within these final 50 laps. Actually held turn 1 wide open that time. That was the first time today I've done that. Because I was able to do that, this might be the fastest lap of the race. Oh, never mind. 4/10 off. Must have really messed up turn 4 or something. Hornish is back to 9th again. He was leading 2 restarts ago. Might end up falling out of the top 10 the longer the run goes, just like it did earlier. Or during the green flag pit stops, he cycled back up into the top 3. 25 laps remain here at Nazareth. Short track racing on a Wednesday night. NASCAR 08 style. Long one, interesting one. Just hoping it stays green to the finish. Things have settled down enough now. I trust myself to not make any major mistakes to give this 0.8 of a second gap back up again. Restarts are kind of out of my control. Especially with the lap cars on the inside of the lead lap cars. That's what cost us the last time. The first time I had a great launch getting through. But that time, that lapper got up to speed pretty quick. And the next one got by because I couldn't get to the bottom. Then the next one. And then 2 cars for position got by also. Ended up 3 wide on the outside and gave up even more time. Fastest lap of the race that last time by, 26.561. I don't know where I pulled that out of, but I did. Oh boy. A little slippery into turn 2. Ran the fastest lap of the race for myself just to give it back up the next lap. Go figure. Sounds like something I'd do. Especially on this game. Oh, that was quick too. Oh, so much for that. 26.432. 2 laps in a row, we run our fastest lap of the race. Three of them in a row. Now I'm starting to push a little too hard. Widen the gap out a bit. 26.320. I'm letting it feed a little too wide. Just got to remember big picture here. I don't want them to get within... I'd like them not to be within 0.3 of a second on the final lap, because then they're within range that he could put the bumper to me, because that's happened a couple times already to me today. And one time I lost the lead in the middle of the race because of that. Danny O'Quinn Jr. hit me. And actually, no, it was Matt Kenseth. That was the first time I took the lead, and Kenseth had set me up the track. Not too violently, just kind of a textbook bump and run. It was like the lap car in the 117, what he did earlier. Truck's been sitting at 9 wins for a few races. Time to get number 10 here today. We've already clinched the most laps led. Probably going to end up leading close, if not over 200 of these 300 laps today. Yeah, I know of him. I know he ran in the truck series. Jim Roper. Maybe he made some Busch starts. I was really young when he passed away. Actually, no, I think I was thinking of, I might be thinking of Tony. Which there is a relation there between the two of them, I believe. Was Tony the one that passed away in the truck accident? I want to say Charlotte, but I could be wrong on the track. Or was that Jim? This is questioning my mental fortitude late on a work night. To be fair, I only would have been like 1 or 2 years old, so. I was very young. Chad's going to have to help me out. We ran some of our fastest laps of the race, so we're really starting to get away now. 11 laps to go this time by at the line. Okay, so it was Tony. Tony Roper was the one. Texas, thank you for that. I had the wrong Roper. Started to extend that lead out. Got it to about 1.3 seconds and then pushed it into the wall. Car, at this point, it's not really feeling very tight, so that's good. Caution laps have allowed us to run less green flag laps during this run, with the 3 that we had since our last pit stop. Once we battled through the restart, our last green flag drop was about 32 to go. Eight laps left this time by, just hoping it stays green now. I know that 117 still had quite a bit of damage. I feel if we get a debris caution, it's probably going to be from him. He had one already, but I think he's Still got his hood intact right now, and it didn't look like it was very intact when we passed him. He was one of the lap cars that got by us on that last restart. Well, we passed him back. Almost there. A long one. About 2.5 hours. By the time the checkered flag falls, 7 to go. Craig Franklin, by the way, thanks for tuning in. I don't think I shouted you out. I didn't notice you were watching. Five to go. 1.3 second lead. Let's keep it green, NASCAR. It'd be fitting when I was in second the last 2 races and needed a caution to try to win it and didn't get it. Now I'm leading, hoping it stays green. That's what happened at Darlington the last race we won. We had a caution green-white checker. I almost lost it. Had a photo finish. Only one we've had on NASCAR 08 so far on the channel. Barely able to hold on. Three laps to go this time by. Lead down to 1 second. They're trying. Pulled away a little bit more through turns 2 and 3. Personal best area on the racetrack. Maybe start to get a little tight, but nothing major. As I say that, I just bounced off the wall. Just got to get to the white flag. Final lap. Yeah, there were was that the 3? I was thinking there might have been 4 in the year 2000. I could be wrong on that. Final lap. 32 laps green to the checker, and we will hold on. 10th win of the season for Martin Truex Jr. 2 hours, 30 minutes, and 15 seconds total time on this race. Probably the longest Busch race of the season is over. I hope it's the longest. I hope there's not one longer than that. It was longer than it should have been, but we got the job done. In front of hardly anybody in the grandstands. All right, first place. I will take that. 228 laps led, 1 second margin of victory, 25 lead changes, 4 cautions. Average race speed tonight, 119.79 miles per hour. Started last, finished first. David Reagan started deep in the field too, 39th, finished second. Marcus Ambrose third, Casey Mears fourth, Dale Jr. rounds out the top 5 and 5th. Then he had Casey Kane 6th, John Wood 7th, Sam Hornish Jr. 8th, Jamie McMurray 9th, Greg Biffle rounded out the top 10. Todd Cleaver started on the pole, led 35 laps, finished 15th. Our other teammate Paul Menard, 11 laps led, finished 17th. on the lead lap. And we had a total of 32 cars finish on the lead lap. And only 3 DNFs, all in the first half of the race. Siegel, Marshall, and Johnson, all fantasy drivers. 4 cautions, and that will round out tonight's stream. Thank you, everybody, for watching. As usual, we'll be back again tomorrow night on the channel, NASCAR 08. And it will be another Busch race and another 300 lapper, though this one a half-mile short track, so it will be a much shorter race. Probably almost half the time it took for us to get this one in here today. The Toyota moving forward 300 at Toyota Raceway. This used to be the Red Ball Raceway on the NASCAR 07 games, 06, 05. So fantasy short track for the next one. Yet again, though, this one not a real racetrack like we had with Nazareth. Thanks for watching. See you guys tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern, for